what it is all about, like how the soul plans all the challenges and everything. So today I'll be like talking about some stories to support all that, how the soul plans. And we'll be looking at that through a couple of stories. Like the author has examined the past lives of those people, their thought processes, what is it that made them plan those challenges. The first story is about and we see nowadays that that is rising. Earlier, there were not so many special children, handicapped people, but special children were come there. In this, we are looking at that. So having a special child is the most challenging situation that anyone. Why would parents choose to?
Meenu, can you speak louder a little?
Okay, I'll try. So I was talking about that having a special child is the most challenging. Alisha, thank you. I was talking about why would parents choose to have such a child? When the child is born, there is often anger against the universe. Why have I been loaded with such a child? So this is the story of a single mother, Jennifer, who had 3 children, and 2 of whom were special, not just one, 2 of them. She had an eldest daughter, and then her son was 16 years autism. He had bipolar disorder and also a attention deficit disorder, वो भी थी उसको. And he had great mood swings. कभी super happy होता था, कभी totally depressed and a very violent temper. And her younger son was 11 years old. He also had severe autism and was also blind. But both sons, they had extraordinary gifts as well. The eldest powerful memory and was very intelligent. But his condition made him speak in a very like a straight line wala tone. So people could not connect to him. तो उसके कोई friends नहीं बनते थे. And the younger son, he was blind. He वैसे भी वो interact नहीं कर पाता था. He had a vocabulary of only about 20 words. बात ही नहीं communicate at all. Only through sign language. And he violent temper. बिल्कुल unreasonable, unnecessarily agitated हो जाता था. But he had an amazing talent for music. कोई भी गाना सुनता था, he could play it on the keyboard. So that was his condition. Now Jennifer feels that she had been prepared for the children's condition. Psychology in college, और जो वहाँ पे paper present करना होता था, this you have on autism. And it was as if she needed to understand the subject in depth. And then she said that she had been blessed with these children to teach her patience. Her daughter, she was the eldest, she was 23 years old. And she and the youngest son, they shared the same date of birth. Her sister loved her brothers a lot, and she was a big support to her mother in taking care of them. So when Robert Schwartz started exploring her past life, he got to know that she was a reporter in the 1930s. And 1930s is the time of the world wars. So she was trying to bring awareness about the condition of the Jews through her articles, through the newspaper, but interested in listening to her. कोई उसको consider ही नहीं करता कि Jews को भी consideration देनी है, उनके condition सोचना है. Not a Jew, but she wanted to make people see what was happening to them in Europe. And at that time, Second World War had not started, and no one could even believe that World War would start. जो उसके sons थे, the 16 and the 11-year-old, they were in Europe, and they were both brothers, the Germans. So Jennifer at that time was trying to, while the sons were plotting war, both were in opposite fields. And Jennifer felt that this was quite possible when she says her elder son was really interested in politics. So अच्छी तरह समझ भी आ जाती थी. But now they had both chosen lifetimes where they could not, दोनों ही नहीं communicate कर पाते थे, and because they had like last lifetime में they, so they were here to learn the value of truthful communication through their challenges. So their challenges would also help their spiritual evolution. So the sister and the brother who shared the same date of birth, they were in a like relationship, and they had been together in many lifetimes. So that's why they shared a birthday also. And she had come special to her brother. And Jennifer jo thi, she was a very mature soul. And in this lifetime, she was in the teaching mode. She had to teach her sons. So once you go through that lifetime where you're in the teaching mode, so I'm so sorry. Audio keeps ringing. What do I do about it? I think I'll start the hot. So as I was saying, that she was in the teaching mode in this lifetime, and her that would help her go up one level in her journey. It would help her to go up. So it is like when the soul is in its last incarnation on earth, it lives a life in passes its wisdom and knowledge to others. उसको सिखाने आती है, में जो उसने सीखा है अपनी पूरी जर्नी में, वो आके यहाँ पे सिखाना चाहती है. And that is how it graduates from the school of earth. Earth से उसको graduation, she moves forward. So then it is their choice, they want to take birth or not. So her, Jennifer, having two special children was not a punishment. हम regard करते नहीं क्या कर्म किए कि हमें ये punishment मिल रही है. It was not that. Maybe जो उनके handicaps थे, they could be interpreted as punishment because of they were involved in war in the previous lifetime. But the soul looks upon this situation, such a situation, as an opportunity to balance energy, whatever they have learned, to balance their own energy. And the mean that you have to be punished. You chose that to learn balance and consequence, cause and effect. Lifetime we could choose career so that you can understand cause and effect. There is no punishment. Soul chooses all those experiences because it has to experience wisdom. Nothing is good or bad. Everything is just another chapter in the text. So what वो experiences के through learns, understands. And the message for parents of special children for their choice, because they have chosen it, it is not to be regarded as a punishment. Na child ke liye, na parents ke liye. The soul inside doesn't have problems. They are full of purpose. They are leading a purposeful life because they are achieving what they want. Now, Jennifer belonged to a soul group that was very highly, and they like to take on great challenges. So, his soul group members, they like great challenges. And the younger son had been a son in earlier lifetimes also. And in one, he had even been an orphan. The child who was a son now, that soul had been an orphan. And before, not necessarily at the time of childbirth is too late. उससे पहले बहुत हो चुका होता है. Like this child, he was an orphan in an early age, and he had been beaten, abused. So he wanted to let go of those memories of being traumatized. As an orphan where you're beaten, so what memories, you're really traumatized. So he wanted to let go of these memories. So as a special child, he would be really taken care of. तो जो उसकी पहले से मिल जाएगी, and he would be able to release किया था. And he had chosen to be blind so that he didn't have to see the cruelty of the world. He felt that the world was very cruel. I just want nurturing in this time. मुझे सिर्फ वही चाहिए. So he chose his problems, that what is blindness आ जाए. And the elder son, who was Jennifer's elder son, he was there more for Jennifer. So he wanted to help her to focus, to build a stronger self. The elder child, he himself a very intelligent scientist in at least 7 lifetimes. He was highly intelligent, but he was tired of being intelligent because there was so much responsibility on, so much demand on you. So he wanted to live a life of being balanced, ताकि वो भी experience करे कि वो कैसा feel होता है कि I'm not. So in this lifetime, there would be no expectations from him. He didn't life of achievement, कुछ करना है मुझे जरूरी. So he would not feel a burden, and that would help him explore the simple life. Simply कैसे रहना है, free of responsibility. He wanted that lifetime. That's why he chose to be such a special child. In fact, that is one of the reasons why souls come as a person. They want to live a less involved life. They want to be cared for, nurtured, loved, mercy. And this is, they're giving the other souls who come with them the opportunity to do all this. So these agreements are made out of love. It is not that anyone is being punished or anything like that. Just to experience love. That is what the special child is all about. So sometimes people, parents of a special child, or they blame themselves, कि हमारी genetics में खराबी. There's a lot of self-blame, self-pity, but focus should not be there. It should be on the child. Everything is for a purpose. वो भी आया तो कोई purpose के लिए आया. What you feel is a disadvantage is actually is an advantage in the universe. And when you remember that you planned it all, आपने ही decide किया कि आप ऐसी lifetime में आओगे. Perspective from your self-pity, self-blame, say you shifted to larger picture. So blame, guilt, shame, they have no purpose. They only stop you from growing. And when we see that, okay, I've got a special child, so it is an opportunity to grow, to live life from a higher perspective. So, children are parents' teachers. हम बच्चों से ही सीखते हैं. So whether they are handicapped or not, teach us a lot of patience. The moment you have a baby, you actually become patience. How to lead a disciplined life, remain calm, हाइपर नहीं हो सकते हम. और स्पेशल किड्स तो और भी ज्यादा हमारे पर टेस्ट करते हैं. And then through the special children, the parents get to meet so many more evolved souls, extraordinary people who have also who help overcome such issues. And Jennifer also met a lot of people like that. And she was fascinated with autism even before she was married. So that was a way of the soul to prepare her for what was coming. Souls are in constant communication with us. They supply the groundwork for the future. But we have to listen carefully to understand what is it all about. There are no villains in the script. Life ki script mein, there are no villains. Only souls acting out of love. And love is when it is given away. Jitna aap doge, it expands. And parenting a special child is a huge opportunity to experience such a love. Such families can actually be called silent heroes, as they're achieving a lot. कोई competition नहीं हो रहा, कोई conquer नहीं करना, कुछ victory नहीं, कोई fame नहीं देखना, praises नहीं चाहिए उनको. But a life of courage on both sides, the one who is the challenge child and the parents. So the parents of special children and the special children, they are very courageous. They're great examples of courage, in fact, that they've chosen such a lifetime. So this was one story about why a special child needs. The second story is about Sharon, whose son was into substance abuse. Now that's quite a common problem with people nowadays. They're taking drugs, वगैरह काफी आजकल बढ़ा हुआ है, alcohol, drugs, or something like that. A lot of people take them because life has become so stressful, and they feel it is an outlet. कि अगर हमने कोई drugs वगैरह ले लिया, drink ले लिया, it is an outlet. Calm down. But society judges such people a lot. They're not regarded as good human beings if they are into addiction. That they've not made a success of their lives. They're not able to do anything. But sometimes the person who is an addict, he takes on this way of living to help others. Nobody looks at it in this way. And how can they help others? This is Sharon's story. She was a nurse and was one day working when she got a call from her husband that their son Tony had been found unconscious in the bathroom और साथ में syringe वगैरह पड़ी थी. So she immediately rushed to the hospital, was taken on, and it seemed that he had an overdose of heroin. And maybe because of that, he even had a heart attack. So he was in a coma for 5 days. And the doctors were not sure that he would be completely whole. Brain damage unko lag raha tha ho gaya. But on the 5th day, he revived, and the first thing he said to his mother was, "I'm sorry." So at least it was clear that brain damage nahi hua tha. Then he told that it was an accident. He hadn't intended to take his life, which was being suspected कि इसने अपना suicide करने की कोशिश करी होगी. But he cleared that कि वो चीज नहीं थी. तो Sharon, she showed him that it was all right. She supported him, gave him like the sanctuary, the environment that he needed at that time. And then subsequently, he joined a program also. After coming out of the hospital, he joined a de-addiction program. But there, after a few days, he relapsed. किसी से उसने फिर heroin ले ली. He took that, so he relapsed. So then Sharon, she was a nurse already. Decided कि मैं इसको घर पे ही रख के I'll take care of him. So she started at her home itself, and she would always focus on the positive. देखो थोड़े दिन तो तुमने छोड़ दिया था ना, तो you can do it. She was always encouraging him, and she even started participating in programs which supported addicts. And through that, she met many people who were also into drugs or who were giving care to such people, supporting them. And through that program only, she met one person, Eddie, who himself was a drug addict, but उसने बहुत help करी Sharon की. He helped her to understand what Tony was going through, what were his feelings, why did he isolate himself, why did he not have food. तो सारा Eddie used to help her understand. And he was a very wise person also. And Sharon and Tony बहुत अच्छे friends बन गए उसके साथ. But months later, he himself died of an overdose. उसने खुद ही heroin की overdose लेके he passed. And after that, once that incident happened, the event happened, Tony started getting better and even took on a job, found a girlfriend. So things began looking up. And Sharon also started a program for those who were giving care to such people, a sort of support group, for especially because many addicts, they used to, of course, get pregnant. So they would support them. So her group that she started, it would provide counseling and medical care. And she would interact with the parents of the girls or the girls themselves, ladies themselves, help them understand, give them love, compassion, because nobody would even think of giving. Also, what judgment I used to judge them, but now she felt more compassion to her. And because of what she was going through, उसके जो आसपास के लोग थे, they also changed. They also became more compassionate, understanding. In fact, what she understood from the whole situation was that when a child gets into addiction, don't keep it a secret. हमारा टेंडेंसी होती है ना, अरे उसको पता नहीं चलना चाहिए, ये सब छुपाते रहते हैं सारी चीजें. If you know what is happening, people come forward to help you. And about this time only, Sharon got in touch with Robert Schwartz, the author, to understand the reasons for the life situations that she was going through. And during the sessions that followed with Robert, came to the surface. And first was that the son, Tony, many lives, he used to be in an occupation which was very magical for him. Situations just happened to him. Maybe he was even a magician or a shaman. He was able to do magical things. And he wanted to re-experience that kind of magic over here in this lifetime. यहाँ पे वो magic में नहीं था, now was he a shaman. अब क्या? So drugs were giving him that experience. So there was a magical kind of reaction in the body when he used to take drugs. So that is how he got into that addiction mode. Then he was also very gifted. He had brought a lot of talent with him, very creative. But when you bring that talent with you, आप पास्ट लाइफ से कोई टैलेंट लेके आते हो तो इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू ब्रिंग दैट वाइब्रेशन फुल्ली इन योर बॉडी एंड देन देयर इज अ फियर कि पूरी तरह से मैं इस टैलेंट को एक्सेस भी नहीं कर पाऊंगी सो दिस अंदर से फियर होता है कि मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा सो व्हेन वी हैव अ ग्रेट गिफ्ट टू यूज ऐसा कोई हमें टैलेंट मिलता है देयर आर नो आउटलेट्स कोई हमें तरीका नहीं मिलता उसको आगे लाने का बाहर दिखाने का इट क्रिएट्स एन एनर्जेटिक ब्लॉक इन द बॉडी तो एनर्जी ब्लॉक हो जाती है और दैट ब्लॉक it creates a vacuum it creates disease in your body and it pushes you to which you can't understand वो खुद ही नहीं समझ आती कि मुझे करना क्या है but there is a drive अंदर से कुछ जोर लग रहा है कि कुछ करना है and to release those feelings you get pulled towards drugs because they give you a magical high so Sharon told he had been very creative his mother थी Tony had been very creative before he got into drugs. उसका IQ बहुत high था, very intelligent guy. So now the through the sessions was that she should give him as much love as she could because he had lost his own self-respect, so he needed her support. उन्होंने before being planned, before being born over here, absolutely, the past life definitely affects. It's all a carryover, continuum है पूरा का पूरा. And they had planned this situation because the mother soul also needed to experience pressure. उसने तो learn करना ही था टोनी के तो life path था ही वो. Mother जो थी Sharon, she needed to experience pressure. She was a very high soul. Sharon was a very high soul. She didn't need to come back. So this was the first time Robert had met a soul. Like it, this was she didn't need to come back. She was such a high soul. She had completed her learning cycle. सब कुछ उसने सीख लिया था जो विजडम आनी थी वो आ चुका था एंड शी हैड कम टू दिस लाइफ टाइम टू असिस्ट हर सन और एंड टू हेल्प ह्यूमैनिटी आल्सो उसकी ये टास्क थी इस लाइफ टाइम में Tony did not know how to take care of himself to nurture himself in this situation so she had great ability ये nurture कर सकती थी she could give him but she was a highly evolved soul but you know even highly evolved souls जो होते हैं they need to themselves कुछ ना कुछ उनमें फाइन ट्यूनिंग की जरूरत अभी भी रहती है तो शैरन की जो स्टोरी थी ना yes absolutely that's very true only when your frequency matches you're able to meet and through the sessions Sharon got to know that was being told by her guardian angels they were coming through Robert and the he was using unke through her guardian angels were coming they introduced themselves as a guardian angels and when they asked for their names they said we don't have names we are known by our vibration so and we don't know how to tell you the name of that vibration so hum naam nahi de sakte apne liye bilkul and they told that before incarnation all experiences are decided experience in a lifetime वो सब decide हो जाता है the exact time the situations, the energy available, the other people who will support you, all has to be in perfect order for the soul to experience wisdom. सब कुछ पहले ही decide हो जाता है. अब Sharon की क्या learning थी? She was a highly evolved soul, बस उस learning थी. She needed to learn limitation. She had, yes, they attract similar souls over there. आपका soul group सारा इकट्ठा हो जाता है to support you on your journey. अब Sharon की quality क्या थी? She had abundance of qualities. She had learned a lot of things, wisdom थी, सब कुछ थी, and she had a nature to give in plentiful. सबको देने की nature थी उसको. She उसमें limitation समझना था, and the soul learns limitation in the world for growth. Because when you experience limitedness, like if earth पे आके आपको limitedness feel होती है, so you learn to overcome frustration. You learn to work within your own parameters. कि मैंने इसी दायरे में काम करना है. How to focus energy. Soul तो and they know themselves as unlimited. So they need to experience that limited to know themselves better. As introduction में बताया था कि ऑपोजिट से जो है ना समझ आती है सोल को अपने बारे में, बिकॉज वहां पे दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड, इट इज देयर, दे नो इट इज देयर, सो वो समझ ही नहीं आता. सो यहाँ पे वर्ड में आके दे एक्सपीरियंस द ऑपोजिट एंड देन दे अंडरस्टैंड, बिकॉज लाइफ ऑन अर्थ इज अ कंप्लीट कंट्रास्ट टू अ सोल. So यहाँ पे on earth they are made to work in a limitation कि आपने इसी के अंदर काम करना है. So as Tony's mother Sharon, she learned that her abilities and her wisdom जो उसके पास इतनी available थी, they are not enough to control all aspects of the environment. आप हर चीज control नहीं कर सकते, including the actions of her son. So she learned to accept the people around her, and that everyone had their own path. हर एक की, and it also helped her to learn to deepen her compassion, expand her compassion, and also her belief in the goodness of human beings. So by sharing what her son was going through, she was sharing because छुपाते हैं, but she used to share. She learned to rely on others. I am जो है ना सिर्फ मैं she could rely on others, see their goodness, and when she shared willingly, she received love. एक तो होता है ना आपको कहीं से पता चलता है तो आप खुसर खुसर करते रहते हो, गॉसिपिंग करते रहते हो, but that did not happen because she clearly used to communicate with other people and tell them कि मेरी ये problems हैं. So she would receive love from others. So she was actually bringing out the true nature of the soul in the other person also. वो भी जो है वो भी love feelings में आ रहे थे. So and then Sharon, again as a very highly evolved soul, and such souls sometimes have a sense of arrogance and they need to learn humility. It is not that they consciously proud होते हैं या arrogant होते हैं, वो it is becomes sort of a nature for them कि हाँ मुझे तो आता है. So they need to learn humility. Human experiences, जब यहाँ पे human experiences होते हैं उनको, तो they get exposed to situations of desperation. क्या कर सकते हैं? Situations that are out of control, where you cannot manage the outcome. So that brings your arrogance down. ठीक है, अब तो नहीं हो पा रहा ना तुमसे. So it creates a way of rousing compassion, and that is why Sharon had chosen this lifetime. So the ability to have compassion was now helping her have a clear goal in her mind to help others also. Her mind had expanded and she understood that I have to do this over here. So those who are experiencing such a life where there are challenges of addiction or whatever, they're doing so by choice. They made that choice. Those who are the addicts and those who are supporting them, they made their choice, and that choice needs to be honored. You know, all paths bring awareness. चाहे आप addict हो नहीं हो, आप path of awareness पे रहते हो. And the lesson is important कि how you bring awareness into your life. जो path है, that is not important. How the person is, that is not important. What he is gaining, what he is understanding, that is important. You know, many times when people face such a situation कि addict है घर में और कुछ ऐसे, they're just not listening, it produces गुस्सा आता रहता है, self pity होती है, feelings of defeat that I did something, कुछ ऐसा हो गया and I'm unable to come out of it. तो ये सारी thoughts होती हैं. But Sharon also had it, but she did not give in to these thoughts. Yes. So that is what Sharon did. She roused her consciousness to listen to her heart's voice. She used her experience to more good in others. So in her stress, she didn't go inward, she reached outwards to others, and she got the support she wanted. So the best learning from this story was that all situations are for learning, and all emotions that one individual creates for himself on earth affects others as well. And not just on earth, the emotion that you have learned moves through other dimensions also. बाकियों को करती है, souls को भी affect करती है. Everything that is done, that said, or that is thought, it creates a ripple effect outward from the individual. जो बंदा सोच रहा है, कर रहा है, उससे वो सारी चीजें बाहर जा रही है. So an emotional vibration is created, and that moves through all people, all dimensions. So this puts a responsibility, a phenomenal responsibility on each human being. That what are you thinking, what are you creating? अगर आपके thoughts दूसरे पे इतने affect हो रहे हैं, तो we need to take charge of our thoughts. We need to understand. And along with this, we are also given an opportunity to create a life. What kind of life I want in this world? वो भी हमारे पास chance है. And when action, every word, every thought affects every other being in the cosmos. Realize the need to be responsible then. कि जो भी हम सोच रहे हैं, कर रहे हैं, वो हम responsibly करें. Absolutely. So we are all flowers and we have to spread our fragrance around. And that makes us realize that हम insignificant नहीं हैं, हम powerless नहीं हैं. So we have to change everything around us. Then another thing that came out of the story was not coincidence. Everything is synchronized. Like the meeting between Sharon and Eddie, the drug addict, that was by chance online through a support group. She met Eddie, but that too had been planned before they were born. So he had come to help them, to support Sharon and Tony. And the extreme act of taking an overdose, that was to show the seriousness of the situation. You need to come out of it. So for sometimes हम सिर्फ तभी we pay attention when things go out of control. जब बहुत ज़्यादा serious हो जाती है, तब हम चीजों के ऊपर ध्यान देते हैं. And even the choice of drug, heroin, that was also decided because each substance has a different effect on the body. He could have gone into alcoholism, he could have gone into, because drugs have a chemical makeup that affect the body in a very strong way. So even his taking heroin was planned because थोड़ा सा addiction जो है ना strong करना था. So that is why heroin had been chosen. कि थोड़ा strong effect उसका आता. And you can get into through any influence. That is also planned. Circumstances कैसे मिलेंगे that you get into drug addiction. The author, while he was understanding a lifetime, he was curious as to why so many young people were getting into addictions nowadays, because you see it is on the rise. More and more people are getting addicted. So he tried to explore that also through Sharon's mind, through the उसने try किया to get the answer for this. And the answer he got, they have chosen their path with a true purpose in mind. They have a very strong purpose in life. जो भी addicts होते हैं, उनका purpose बहुत strong होता है. But this purpose gets overshadowed with जो आसपास के लोग हैं, उनकी values और judgments से. जो आप करना चाहते हो, उनकी judgment से you are not able to. The pressure of culture, of family, it all makes you lose your purpose. आप उसके आगे बढ़ ही नहीं सकते. So nowadays there is movement in the lives of young people to move beyond generational values. कि जो पुराने systems चल रहे हैं, they want to allow those old systems of religion, education, science and politics, those things that rule the world. यही सारे world के ऊपर हावी हुए हैं. Education, religion especially. So they want those systems to either expand so that they can be rebuilt again. Like कुछ उनमें changes आने चाहिए. These are the old systems. They need to be renewed now. So a person into addiction, when a person gets into addiction, he sets a chain reaction. Those around him learn to drop judgment. So they are limited because of judgment of the other people. So वो addiction में चले. To make the people drop judgment, to reach out with love. आसपास अपने, to reach out to the person with love, to drop beliefs जिनका भी कोई मकसद मायने नहीं है, उन beliefs को छोड़ दो. And when such a non-judgmental environment is given to the addicts, they rouse self-love, self-nurturing. They create an atmosphere of self-acceptance, and then they are able to rise above their current situation. And that compassion that they get and that they have for themselves, that gets developed a lot and extends outwards also towards society. bringing the changes that are needed in society. So we are living in times of great change, and that change is starting from ourselves. Because remember what I said earlier, every thought matters. We are not powerless. We can bring that change. So when we create that supportive atmosphere for an addict, we're actually serving the world. That is how it can affect the world and change the world. So that's all for today. Anything you would like to talk about or ask? So much for listening. I got a lot of